Ukraine has not and is not negotiating with Russia on the return of children forcibly displaced by it. The Commissioner for Human Rights of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, Dmytro Lubinets, denied the statements of the so-called Russian children's ombudsman, Maria Lvova-Belova, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court on charges of illegal deportation of Ukrainian children, said that with the mediation of Qatar, Kiev and Moscow were allegedly planning to conduct an exchange of children, and list had already been created. At the same time, she did not explain which Russian children Ukraine allegedly had to give to Russia.
I am actually in Qatar right now, and our negotiations ended an hour ago, but Ukraine is negotiating with Qatar. It was through the mediation of Qatar that we returned and continue to return Ukrainian children. There is also a group of returnee kids in Qatar today, and Qatar has launched its first psychological rehabilitation program for children. I would like to know that Ukraine continues to look for new tools for the return of Ukrainian kids, but we are doing this through the mediation of our partners. Dmytro Lubinets, Commissioner for Human Rights of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, on the air of the national teleson.
The algorithm for the return of Ukrainian children has been worked out, says Lubinets, but it needs to be scaled up. Kiev knows the names of at least 19,500 kids illegally deported by Russia, but so far less than 500 have been returned. Moscow is hiding information. It has never handed over lists of abducted kids to Ukraine. Russia placed the children in orphanages and boarding schools in remote areas of the Federation and even on the territory of Belarus and placed them in foster families. They change their names, surnames, and even the date and place of birth. They take away their Ukrainian documents and give them Russian ones.
You are put on this track when you receive documents, when you begin to cooperate, when a child needs to sign the anthem, to glorify the Russian Federation, learn the Russian language and follow this track, because this track was invented by the Russian authorities in order to make our Ukrainian children Russian. It began to follow its track, and the next sin for teenagers is paramilitary movements in schools.
Moscow has created not only a system of mass kidnapping, but also a system of a so-called re-education, but in reality indoctrination. This is the saturation of consciousness with certain content that is beneficial to the Russian regime.
The teacher in the class starts with the question, what country do you live in? And all children must answer, in Russia. Someone does not answer. They are called further to the director, and they must explain why they do not answer. Then they are taught to inform each other, to inform on their family, and they work with each kid individually. How are your parents? How do they feel about Russia? Do they love Russia? One boy said that during the lessons about what's important, the teacher told them, you must be ready to die for Russia.
Neither international publicity nor arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court, nor the peace resolution calling the deportation of children a war crime stopped Russia. Today, an international coalition, 33 countries from Estonia and Norway to Canada and the USA, is working to return little Ukrainians home, but you also can contribute to that through the information campaign If You Know, Tell. The Freedom TV and UATV channels are implementing the project in partnership with the Commissioner of the President of Ukraine for Children's Rights and the Juvenile Police. If you live in the temporarily Russian-occupied territories of Ukraine, Russia or Belarus, and you know that your neighbors, acquaintances or a social institution have a child abducted from Ukraine, please let us know. You can transmit information through the Yatot I'm Here Telegram channel. You can see the QR code and log in on the screen, or by filling out the electronic form at the uatv.ua/SaveUAChildren. We guarantee your anonymity. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Valeria Nekipelova, UATV News.